You are watching the Pan African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherlands calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.
After centuries of misguidance caused by slavery, colonization, lack of awareness of our history, and institutional disinformation, a new Africa is on the move, determined and getting organized. Afrika tuko pamoja. Welcome to the United Kingdoms of Great Africa. The United Kingdoms of Great Africa is the credo of the alliance movement of all African intelligences around a common ideal: the unity and development of a strong, conquering, and completely dedogmatized Africa through the channel of a strong organization called the Africa We Want Global. You are an African, Afro-descendant, researcher, historian, scientist, or simply an NGO. You want to be part of this great historical march towards the total freedom of an uninhibited Africa? Visit our website www.africawewantglobal.org. Register and discover the range of our platforms for change. AfricaWeWantGlobal.org. Join the kingdom, be part of it. An initiative of Dr. Susan Tata.
So, good evening, everyone. Good evening, the Global Pan-African Daily TV family. Tonight, we welcome you to this another edition, a very significant day in the lives of Africans worldwide and on the continent across the globe. Today, we want to remember an ancestor, our father, our brother, our leader, our president, who actually departed from us on this same day, 17th of March, 2021. I mean, when we shared that post, a lot of people were just shocked, like, it's already been a year. How come? People were still thinking that, it's just yesterday. But of course, it's 1 year. It is exactly on the 17th of March. I think closely around 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. East African time. I can really not remember that the whole world just went silent because a great leader, a man of his words and love for Africa, departed or transited to the land of our ancestors. I know a lot of people are getting confused because when we did that ceremony to remember him or to accompany him, it actually was 1 month after. And do remember, because he was a statesman, they had this 27 days or 1 month of doing the preparation. And that's why we did also that passage during that period. So that's why it's a little bit kind of confusing. But the day he left us and went on that journey to the ancestral realm of the United Kingdoms and Queendoms of Great Africa, it was on this day. I always will remember because this day marks, it's always the day before the birthday of Iya Babot Tata, my son, my youngest son. And so I never would forget. So while we remember him, not just remember him, celebrate him, we know that his presence and all our ancestors are with us. I want to thank Professor James Small, who just jumped in and said, yes, we have to remember our elders when they are no longer physically among us, but we all know that we are an extension and a continuity of them. So they're actually here with us. I want to thank you, Prof, for actually coming in on board. I do also receive a lot of feedback. Professor King Dr. Maponga Joshua also reached out to say, I would have loved to be on this because we all pull it together. And all the leaders out there just send out, and the embassy of Tanzania in Germany, they actually were like, wow, Pan African Daily, this is amazing what you are doing. We never even, thought about it in this light. We were still preparing to do that celebration tomorrow, but you just pick it and run. That is the purpose and the meaning of creating a platform where we awaken even our memories that are sleeping. So I am very also thankful for the whole community. Immediately we shared that post, people just grabbed it on and like, wow, already a year? How come? And a lot of people are still like, I know he's not gone, he's right here because I've been implementing. And he was the fire that was lit also among others like our brother Judge Floyd and many other that passed on during this period, in this journey through the COVID passage. Um, we salute all of them wherever they are, and we embrace their families for going through that period and during this loss. It's always going to be considered as that departure period during the pandemic, the global pandemic. So that's why it's different from just another passage. We do know that we lost a lot of people during this time. And talking to Professor James Small a couple of days before yesterday, he just told me, I'm just living from one burial to the other, and even today, and so forth. So, but he's here actually, and we want to commemorate and remember all our brethren, all our ancestors, all our people, and the global people that just passed through during this time of the pandemic. And so it's not only to remember Dr. President John Pombe Magufuli, but also to remember, we know about Dr. Rono and all of them that actually just transited in this period. That our heartfelt condolences are still with the families as they grieve, because it's something that is historic. They will always remember he passed during the COVID, right? So I want to thank all of you for joining us to commemorate and to think about this day and to celebrate and to learn what is it that has changed during this period. Have we actually been remembering
Whoa.
when he said the word,
Hello?
Africa, we are alone? Professor James, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I can. I can.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
here.
thank you so much. And so the idea of us remembering an ancestor with this kind of caliber and his speeches, his words, his meaning for Africa, his dying love for his country, for his people, the engagement, the sacrifices, the bullet, as I can say, the war that he was fighting. So, but he has fulfilled his purpose in the right and due time. No matter what kind of things we say, he was murdered, he was this. If our ancestors did not accept it, nothing would happen. So we do agree he had fulfilled his purpose and mission on earth. Now it's left upon us to see, we that are still alive, what we do about it, how we remember it, how we implement it, how we copy and role model him. So I want to thank you, Prof, again once more. You are here. How are you doing? Thank you for being with us.
Well, I'm doing fine, Sister Susan, and I'm happy to be with you on this sacred day that we remember our President Magufuli, because everything in life tells you that's what you should do.
Mm.
And if you don't remember your ancestors, you will always lose your way. And this is certainly an ancestor worth remembering because of the standards he set as a president, because of the values and the principles he lived up to as a president, because of the contributions he made with the revenue of the nation for the sake of the nation as a president. And for those who get confused because they're Christian or Muslims, let me give you a simple lesson. Everyone in the Torah, everyone in the Bible, everyone in the Quran, they're dead. They're ancestors. And you call their names every day in respect and reverence. So maybe you don't think of it that way, but it tells everybody in the world revere their ancestors. So when Africans who may not be a part of your religious tradition revere their ancestors, we would like to see the same respect that we give you when you revere Isaac, Abraham, Jacob, Esau, Muhammad, and the other ancestors that you revere every day. Because it's so easy for people to say, I got a belief, and they can slip away from responsibility, or they can look down on your dealing with your responsibility to your ancestors when everyone, Buddha is dead, Krishna is dead, but yet those who revere Krishna and those who revere Buddha know they're revering their ancestors. David is dead, Solomon is dead, but when you revere David and Solomon, you're revering your ancestors. Anyone who don't understand that deification of your history and your historical figures are the most important thing a human being could do, because you're remembering the best of the being that you can copy and use to further yourself and your people. Everyone does it, and it just amazed me why people get confused when Africans do it. Now I just showed everyone how you do it every day with your religions. Everybody in your holy books are dead, but you call their name every day. You repeat their psalms, you say their prayers. But when we revere our ancestors as Africans, a kind of a cognitive dissonance set in. And so I just want to bring that to your attention. Don't let that happen. Give us the same respect you demand of us, and allow us to observe the beauty that Magufuli brought forward for us to emulate. I remember when he passed, the only thing the Western newspapers could say is that he resisted the COVID vaccine. They could not find anything else to criticize him about. They knew he used the money of Tanzania for the people of Tanzania. He didn't have corruption. So they couldn't say, oh, a corrupt African leader. No. They knew he didn't even let government officials fly first class or business class to save that money for the people. The only criticism they can give him is that he refused the Western vaccine. And not so much that he refused. He was saying the same thing the president of South Africa is saying. Don't give us your vaccine. Give us the right to make the vaccine ourselves. Okay? Give us the right to use the natural products we have in our country. Give us the technology. Give us access to your technology. You don't mind sending me the bottle and the capsule and the powder for me to put it in and give it to my people. But let me see how it's made. Let me see what it is made of. Let me have the right to determine what's going in my people. If it's good, then I can say, oh, thank you for sharing your patents. And if it's not good, my scientists, my African scientists, will make that rendering and make that decision. We have been taking medicine since the beginning of time in Africa. But you want to marginalize my medicine by saying, oh, it's herbal. Yet your doctors and your students from your greatest universities are in Africa every day in our botanical garden, in our botanical forest, learning from us. So you can take this medicine back to Europe and America and turn it into a pill or a capsule and sell it. But when I boil it in my pot, you say, oh, there's something wrong with that. When I chew it as I walk along the road to keep from getting malaria, you say, oh, something's wrong with that. Only if I take it to America or Europe and make a pill out of it by putting additive and preservative and chemical in it, does it have value? And then I'll sell it to you for 100 times more than I bought the leaves from you. But we know he lived a life that was worth emulating. He was an African man who was for the betterment of Africa and African people. And whether he lived one day or 61 years, what he rendered and gave to us is worth remembering, and it is certainly worth emulating as we go on and teach our children about this great hero who knew how to be a president of a nation, who knew how to say, I will not tolerate wrong in a society where I have the opportunity to correct it. That nations outside of the nation of Tanzania will not tell the people of Tanzania how to be Tanzanians. Tanzanians alone will make that determination. And so we love him, we honor him, we revere him, and we want to emulate him and teach our children about him. And so that's important. That's what's important. The ancient Africans along the Nile said, as long as someone called your name, you live. As long as someone calls your name, you live. So we say John, we say Joseph, we say Pombe, Magufuli, so you live. And every time we say Magufuli, you live even bigger. And so that's all this is. We respect the work you did. We respect the sacrifice you gave. We respect the honesty you brought to the political game. Mm-hmm. We respect the integrity that you brought to the political process. We respect and revere your love for your country and your people and your love for Africa and its culture and tradition. And that's all we're talking about. If others are confused with that, then they're not honest people. Honest people will understand why we call your name Magufuli.
Mm-hmm.
You see.
Absolute.
What else can you say? We could say other things. If it was an ancient time, we would install him and make him a saint. There are many, many, many in other cultures and traditions who have been made saints and have not done 1/10 of what he's done, have not been 1/10 as ethical and as principled as he has been. So why not? I have just determined you're my saint, Magufuli John. You're my saint. I will look up to you and I will learn from you.
Exactly. You know, in the western province of Cameroon, they call them the Bamilekis. Thing you know about them. You know, when their ancestors or their fathers or their parents pass on, particularly the royals, and I mean leaders and the heroes like he was, I mean, they actually would exhume his corpse, and then all their skull, the skull is in their palace. Whether it's their father or their moms, they have the skeletons, the skull in their rooms. And you know, this is deeply rooted in what you're saying. How on earth ever become this a ritual or a negative ritual when we celebrate our own ancestors? Number two, Prof, how on earth did it ever become that I can respect another person's ancestor and I bewitch my own, even my father or my mother or my aunt that passed on? I just forget and never, but I keep calling on exactly what you say, the dead prophets of the Bible or whoever. And I think they are alive every day. So how on earth can I not think that my own also is alive? Why?
Well, I'm going to read something I wrote a few years ago. So this statement I made, it says, Spirituality guides your life. Culture informs your life.
Mhm.
Culture is your primary education system. It gives you your values, your interests, and your principles. If you're practicing the culture of those who practice genocide against you, then you will practice genocide against yourself. So that's an answer to your question. If I imitate the alligator, and the alligator will eat human beings who go too close to the water, then I will eat human beings who go too close to the water. But if I imitate the wise human who stays away from the alligator space in the water, then I will save the life of those humans who do not want to be devoured by the alligators. And so we have to not care what other people think about our culture. We simply have to love and respect our ancestors. When they gave birth to us, they gave birth to themselves as a continuum through time and space. So I am, in a major way, aspects of my ancestors living on. And I will have my children inherit the DNA and the genes of my ancestors. So my ancestors is eternal. So how can I then defame them? Anyone who does that have lost their way. And certainly many of us have lost our way because we've chosen the ways of those who have invaded our lands to steal our raw materials and our natural resources. I was looking at something on Cameroon, because I know your family's from Cameroon. And I goes, why are they fighting? Crude oil, timber, cocoa, bauxite, cotton, bananas, coffee, all going to non-Cameroonian nations to make them rich. So if I keep the Cameroonians fighting each other over whether I'm going to follow the British way of being stupid or the French way of being stupid, then I can steal the wealth of that nation. Why, Missy, let me go to Congo. And says, oh, the Congolese are fighting. Oh, they're not paying attention to ancestors anymore. They're not doing, many of them, respect for ancestors. And all I have to do is put some money here, bring some guns here, and you fight. And while you're fighting, I steal your diamonds. I steal your gold. I steal your copper. I steal your cobalt. I steal your cassiterite. I steal your tin. I steal your coltan to make my cell phone. I steal your oil, and I steal your timber. But if I listen to my ancestors, who tells me that someone came among us and caused great confusion, someone came among us and killed the best of our leaders with their fancy things called guns, then I will recognize them even when they come today in their three-piece suit and their briefcase, or with their religious symbols and their religious garments, telling me that the murderer's ancestors is more worthy of my worship than my own. And so I'm not to be a foolish man. I will criticize my people. We deserve criticism sometimes, but we deserve love from one another all the time. And a brother like Magufuli, who knew the Western world would rather see him dead than alive because of the way he was running Tanzania for the Tanzanian, who knew there were collaborators in his own country who took money from the corporate structures of the West to make the government corrupt, and he wouldn't allow it. He knew all these things endangered him, but he loved Africa so much. He was willing to die so that Africa might live. So I revere him and I honor him. He's not the only one, but he's one of our latest ones. You know, we can think of the great Julius Nyerere from Tanzania, who put them on the new path. We can think of the great Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya, who put them on a new path. We can think of Emerson Cabral in Guinea-Bissau, who tried to put them on a new path, but the West assassinated him and took the country another way. We can think of Sankara in Burkina Faso, beautiful young baby, and they took his life because he wanted to carry Africa in the way that Magufuli carried Tanzania. And so he sits among the great. I'm sure Sankara is at his side now. I'm sure Kwame Nkrumah is at his side. You know, I'm sure Kenyatta is sitting there saying, "You did well. Now, Ari said you carry out my work like I wanted to see it done." You know, so many of the great ones. Malcolm X and Patrice Lumumba is just smiling with their arms wide open so John can be embraced. And they now will sit in council on how they reach our spirits to infuse the beauty that they were and the love for Africa they carried into the souls of our youth so that they will imitate those great ones that Magufuli is now sitting with in council, so that we can have indeed what the young people are saying, the building of the Africa they want to see. And never ever be afraid. Malcolm X says the secret to life is to have no fear. The secret to life is to have no fear. The great Dessalines Emperor of Haiti said, your life should always be based on freedom or death, nothing in between. For those great ancestors, we should listen to every day and love them eternally. And they will teach us, with the practice they left us, how to build good economics, how to build good politics, and how to restore the integrity of African culture as the guiding element of our politics and our economics. So my brother John, hey sir, I know your journey is just about complete. Enjoy yourself. Tell the ancestors we will all join you soon. Let's hope some of us can come in the high chamber with you because of the work that we've done. Peace and blessings. Magufuli. Whenever we call your name, you live.
Ashe.
Yes,
Prof, what time do you have out there? I just want to divert something. It's as if your times have changed.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. You know, we spring forward. So what would have been, let me see, what time is it? It's 3:39 now. This would just be 2:39 last week. That's why I came on early, and I woke you. I'm so sorry. I came in an hour early. So from now on, I always remember I'm an hour earlier than I was last month.
Okay, so if I say 8 p.m. like in my time, so it would be your 1 p.m., no longer 2 Eastern, right?
Right.
Okay, I like that because I see even in the chat, people asking, but what time is it? Like they were still expecting, like, yes, I mean, out there, they're still looking forward to. But it's nice to know that you have regressed 1 hour back, or we have progressed 1 hour forward. Good. Prof, let's stay. I mean, that was just giving a feedback
we
to
went
all of
1
you
hour
asking in
forward.
the chat.
We went 1 hour forward. So instead of it being 1 o'clock, it's 2 o'clock.
Okay.
So we went forward 1 hour. So today, when I came and thought it was 2 o'clock, it was already 3 o'clock. They call it spring forward. And in the fall, we fall back. We go back 1 hour in the fall. But in the spring, we go forward 1 hour. So when it's 1 o'clock a week ago, it's now 2 o'clock this week. You understand?
Okay, so it brings us to actually the topic of our seasons. Our seasons in our African calendar don't change. And now we begin to see the notion of time, how we perceive time, and how time can be regulated depending on the clock, not even
Right.
per season or so.
Well, there's some people now who have put legislation forward to stop changing, to stay where it's at now. I think they did it because it gets dark too early in the American cities, which means
Sure.
they have to spend more money turning on the lights. so rather than spend the money, this is for safety, but I think it's more for turning the lights on to save money. So they change it so that it does not register, the darkness does not come before your workday is over. You know?
Everything is just about the profit and the business.
This is why it's called capitalism. And it's imperialism and capitalism. Money first.
Money first, exactly.
Mm.
I'm so thankful that we looking back and try to um, remind or to reawaken the melanin in us, that even though it seems so short, like a lot of people are like 1 year already, I don't believe that he just left. Do you think it's just because that attachment and the refusal and the denial that we keep thinking, oh, and so we don't even realize that the time, or the existence that we're constantly in touch with our ancestors, particularly like this once in this time, like you're saying? Because even when we talk about the Marcus Garvey and we talk about the Malcolm X, we talk about Patrice Lumumba or Kwame Nkrumah or Amilcar Cabral, or all of them that you this Thomas Sankara, we cannot not talk about them like it's something that happened 100 years ago. It's like it's now.
It is now. If we remember them as revered ancestors, then it is always now.
Yes.
If you don't remember them, then it's some way back there. If you ever look at the Jewish people, they have more holiday celebrations than any other people in the world. Yet every one of their holiday is a historical event or an event around an ancestor who was a hero. Every one of their holiday, no matter how old it is about a historical event that affected the people or about a hero that came to save, liberate, or advance the people. So what they've done is to deify their history, revere their ancestry, and it has allowed them to be the wealthiest, most influential people in the world, yet they're one of the smallest ethnic groups in the world.
It is so interesting,
Did
Prof,
you
because
hear me?
I heard, but just repeat it again. It sounds much better.
That one of the smallest ethnic group in the world, the people we call the Jewish people, is one of the most wealthy, most powerful ethnic group in the world. They're all over Africa. The diamonds you see on 47th Street, most comes out of Africa. How does it get from Africa to 47th Street, New York? How does the wealth of Africa gets to belong to another ethnic nation? How does that ethnic nation get to be so strong? Because the entire spiritual experience in any 12-month period of the nation is devoted to recalling significant events in their history and revering significant ancestry. That's their entire holiday chain, is based on revering significant heroic ancestors and remembering significant historical event. And that has bonded them together around remembering history, revering ancestry. And that makes us one people that no one can fracture. And so we could go into Africa and remove the gold, remove the coltan, remove the bauxite, as a part of the Western corporate structure, and no one will say anything because they don't understand what bonds us together so tightly that no one can separate this thing. And it is the deification of the history and the revering of the ancestry as the total holy day information chain of the 12 months period of a year. I hope my people listen to that. Our people. So we can stop being so foolish. So we don't have to become refugees in other people's country when we come from the wealthiest piece of real estate in the world. So our young people can go to medical school and practice medicine in the best hospitals in the world right there in Africa, instead of having to go away just to get paid minimum wage as a doctor, that they can't even make minimum wage in an African nation as a surgeon. So to feed their family, they must take their technology and go. We have to stop all of this. So we have to stop the wealth that's going out of our nation by other nations who are organized as nations with their ancestors as their guide. And we must now learn how to process the raw material in our country and say, if you want them, you have to come and buy it from us at a market price that will allow our children to learn the technology that runs the world right in their home country. We will give you a fair price if you would drop your guns and come and give us a fair price. And Magufuli showed us that, how to do that. He took the gold of Tanzania and he processed it in Tanzania. Okay? He didn't send it abroad to be processed, then buy it back at a higher price. He said, no, we will process our diamond, our gold right here. And those of you who have been processing abroad and stealing, we want you to pay reparations back to the state of Tanzania. And we will use it to build our infrastructure as a nation. You know? So we must learn from our ancestors who have done well. Magufuli did well. And we're proud of him. And we must remember him. And I'm not defaming the Jewish people. I'm proud of them. They're smart enough to do good for their people. We need to become smart enough to emulate that behavior and do good for our people.
I share. That's what I wanted to say, Prof. Like, we should even copy the good examples.
Anything that works well, copy
yes.
it. Learn from others, just as they've learned from us. You know, we are not waiting to be taught by the West, but we will learn any new technology that, thanks to my wealth, you haven't been able to advance in. Without the wealth of Africa that you garner, especially after the Berlin Conference, you would not even exist. If the Francophone states today in Africa were to pull all of their monies out of the banks of France, the economy of France would collapse immediately. Magufuli tried to tell us, we have the power to have a better relationship with the West, but we must have the integrity to exercise the authority over the wealth of our nations and take it out of the hands of foreign corporations. And our military and our security forces have to stop being so easy to be bought off by Western corporations to overthrow good governance when we see it rising in Africa. That's not true about all military, because I certainly support the behavior of the young men in the military in Mali. I don't think all of the military coups are worthy. But when one said we want to be independent of our colonial masters with the wealth coming out of our ground, yes, that makes all the sense in the world. And who dare chastise them, punish them, marginalize them for that? Are you telling people you must remain a colonial and a neo-colonial clown? Well, Magufuli got rid of neo-colonialism in Tanzania. He did a better job than any African leader since Kwame Nkrumah to destroy the very foundation of neocolonialism in Tanzania. So he'll always rest in peace. And we'll always call his name. And he'll always be one that we can learn from. You know, because this is about Mother Africa, Father Africa, as a totality. You know, all of these nations, 54 of them, we didn't create them. Our enemy created them to make it convenient to rob us of our raw materials. We have to look at the dismantling of some of these borders and the reunion of many of the ethnic nations who were split in 2 or 3 or 4 by these false artificial borders. Your beautiful Cameroon is a classic example of what that could do to a people and have them killing each other for decades after decades after decades to maintain in place a colonial fantasy of borders that simply mark the territory that they would steal from and are still stealing from under the new neo-colonial financial arrangement with the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. So Magufuli, hey, you're an angel, you're a saint. You showed us the way. We need now to study you and listen to what you've left us. I hope that made sense.
Critical enough and more engaging. Thank everyone that is actually paying that memorial by just thinking and calling his name. You remember we talked about the Magulification of Africa, and the young people across the social media space today, they actually are getting it. And I think, like you said, normally the future is very, very bright, where the youth see the Africa that they want to build. And so today would have been the Magulification Day or the Magufuli Day across the whole continent and its diaspora.
Yes.
Just like every
well, let's declare it. We're declaring today Magufuli Day. We've declared it. Everyone, you have the right to celebrate this day now. So declare it for yourself, wherever you are in the African world, that this is Magufuli Day. And every year we will celebrate him on this day.
And that is why there is a philosophy that we get into this Ubuntu in a kind of an alarm. We call it a 12-12 alarm. And so if the alarm rings on any day, like anybody, what day is it today? And we're really going to be seeing that the days of the saint will now become actually the new Africa that we're talking about, starting from the Marcus Garvey's day, which day they transited. It's the day of the saint. And so it's completely, I think, like if we look at the example of the Jews, and we look at even the examples of the Europeans, they have in their own I don't want to say in their culture, because it's their culture. They celebrate their Jesus Christ on their day that they think it was their saint. If we look at the Jews, like you say, or we look at the Muslims, or we look at the Chinese or the Indians, this is a culture that belongs to them that they do. So the question should be always asking, where is our own culture? Where are our own saints? How do we celebrate them? How do they become now global? When the Jews are putting some particular days. I think this, like you said, it just takes a minute or a day to say, when we are remembering this day, it's a Magufuli Day, 17th of March, would always be the Magufuli Day.
Yes. And we should have a Queen Nzanga Day. We should have a Queen Pharaoh Hatshepsut Day. We should have a day for Ya Asantewaa Day. You know, we determine that. We don't even need government to determine that. The people can make that determination.
Sure.
And just do it. You know, for 57 years, this year will be the 57th year. I've been a part of leading a pilgrimage to the grave of Malcolm X for 57 years. And we determined that is Malcolm X Day for us. I've never worked on that day. None of my children have ever attended a school on that day. Because that day we set aside to remember Malcolm X. Mm-hmm. And this year, I will preside, if the ancestors willing, over his gravesite for the 57th year. We have to make the determination.
I share. Yes. So it's upon us, Professor James.
Yes.
It's upon it's upon us.
If you want to be free, declare your freedom and act like you are free. That's all you have to do. I declare myself free decades ago, and I act like I'm free. People say, oh, but you will pay consequences. Make the choice. Pay consequences for your freedom or pay consequences for your enslavement. Which do you want?
No, but if we take even a closer look at what you're saying, you declared, or like you said, this is the 57th year and you go to remember. Did somebody ever stop you not from doing that?
Nobody would dare.
Prof, yes, nobody would dare, but nobody also did. So, like I'm saying, it's upon us, the youths that are watching us,
yes,
and everyone.
The reason nobody dare is because we do it. Because we get in those buses at 125th Street and we take the freeway to Ferncliff Cemetery. We didn't ask permission. We come and we lined up our buses and the hundreds and hundreds get off. And those who are dressed in their white, we form our square around his grave. We carry his stool to the head of his grave. We call the Adhan Allahu Akbar, because he was a Muslim. And then we have the traditional Yoruba prayers, the traditional Akan prayers, the traditional Voodoo prayers, the traditional Native American prayers. And then those elders who are worthy will speak about him for a few minutes. And then we will ask a girl child to speak about him for all the girl children there. And then we'll ask a male child to speak for all the male children there. And then we will let him know we remember you. And we will never forget you. And we will practice the things you taught us. And when we are dead and gone, like many who used to go with me, they're gone. And one day I will be gone. But all the youth that comes, led by a body of young men that we call the Sons of Africa, will continue to come 100 years from now. We ask nobody permission, and no one dare stands in our way.
Okay, so I mean, this is very important, Prof, because we are getting into this process of where our young people we're focusing on handing over and teaching them in that. And you just said something that was very, very, very correct. Like, you know, there is no process where we are going to be doing without involving the young people. If the young people is in no organizations that we're doing, like you say in the Sons of Africa, you know, giving over that right of possession, then we're doing something absolutely wrong. But I want to come back to that point where you made it very clean and clear. You talked about, you know, all these borders and all these boundaries, and we need to tear them up. Right? Let's take this case of Malcolm X. I mean, if there was a boundary, it's not physical, so it should have been a boundary that is in your brain.
Yes.
I'm coming there. I take another example. Clearly, we're talking about Berlin, Germany. There has been a physical war in Germany since the past 31 years. A physical war. The whole world could see the Berlin Wall. We're not talking about the Berlin at 1884. We're talking about the Berlin Wall. It's a physical year. So even in Germany, we're always celebrating the 1st of October because it is considered the reunification day. And it's just 30 years old. So in a nutshell, we can say Germany as a country, as a unification country, is just 30 or 31 years old now. So if we go back to our history as Africans, like you said, we have to learn. We are learning to do our own things. It means there's nothing impossible that we are looking at our young people to say, those boundaries are not even seen. Nobody sees. There's no wall that is built from South Africa to Zimbabwe. There's nothing. There are checkpoints, or there are all these colonial borders that you have to show your passport but there's no physical wall like we saw the Berlin Wall, but was brought down as a significance of that. A war that divided actually East Germany, from West Germany, physical for decades. So, but our own are in the mind. We don't see no borders. We walk across.
The borders, remember, the borders are there around money, raising money through whomever is in power, who have a relationship with the ones who originally put the borders there, is in charge of collaborating and managing the natural resource of that territory for those who put the borders there. This is about money, not sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the nations in Africa are not big enough to be called nations. If I just look, Cameroon is a classical example. The area they call in the Anglophone, and I think that's your home area, so I don't want to hurt your little heart. But it's as big as my backyard. What are you going to do? What kind of nation are you talking about? You're talking about managing raw materials for somebody else who drew some borders artificially on a piece of paper and impose it on you militarily, and now have you fighting to keep imposing it on yourself. History will get rid of the myth and the mystery.
Ashe.
I'll be your enemy. So one day, the young people will stand up and start walking by the hundreds of thousands and maybe even millions towards these so-called borders, and not stop when they get to them. And the day they're willing to do that, the borders will be broken down. And maybe one day they will set a date that millions of the youth of Africa will march towards the borders of the nation they live in and say, we're not stopping. And what are they going to do? Encourage millions more to rise up? I don't think they're that stupid. Some may be. But the youth have to decide what they want as a future. We know that so many of us who come to this country, America and England and Canada, we know the racism we suffer. We know the abuse we suffer. We know some of us are lied to and told we're coming to colleges and schools, and we're just being used as cheap labor to take care of other people's children or forced into prostitution. We know what the truth is. Get rid of the glamour of going to the West. Tell your people the truth of what has happened to you when you've come here. Yes, some come and make it and go to college and get the good job, but that's not everybody. And the way you treat it, unless you bow your head and says, oh yes, ma'am, oh yes, ma'am, you will be treated like trash. You know that. Stop playing. I lived here for almost 400 years. I know them very well. You don't. So let me tell you. Open your ears and listen. See what you see, know what you hear. That's what one of my brothers, Listabel, said. But come back to our great ancestors. That's why we go to ancestors. They teach us about what is down the road that we're now journeying on. They've already been there.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to their stories. They'll tell you which road you should turn away from, which corner you should make, left or right, which journey you should end at this point and go back home.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not listening to your ancestors, you walk off of the same cliff generation after generation and die. So Magufuli, you are okay with me, my brother. You are fine. Like they say in the streets of Harlem, you're my man. You're the president. You're the model of a good president. You're the model of a great leader. You're the model of an African man. You have authority that was given to you, always remember, by the woman of Africa, the woman of Tanzania, who have the power. But you, the man, sit on the throne because the women have given you authority to exercise their power. African culture 101.
Correct. Thank you, Elder, because you're saying we are also in that middle, and I want us to touch another program that is coming up. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's still in continuity of this memory lane. The memory lane is our unity, what makes us stronger, and we are beginning to realize that um, until we actually get to even listen. I'm saying from the continent, listen to the diaspora, feel them, be with them, cry with them, celebrate with them, visit all these places that we're saying. Probably it will be difficult for us to just imagine what we're talking. So I'm coming to the special invitation that was accorded from you out there. When I say you out there, the brothers and sisters out there, on this conference, very crucial conference of One Africa. And this One Africa, we engineered and created it. You hear on our slogan, One Africa for Africans worldwide. And this One Africa Ubuntu tour, we want to start it on the Pan African Daily. And so, because everyone has been calling out and like, you know, Pan African Daily TV, you facilitate this, you're like the medium, like you said. And so we want you to come and understand and listen to us and just tell us also who you are after this disconnection. There has to be one person that is going around, and the person has to be in the middle of understanding the continent and the diaspora, and it is the Pan-African Daily. So the Pan-African Daily has this culture of uniting us for a One Africa agenda. And thank God, or thank our ancestors, you are inviting us out there to listen, that we listen to one another. So first of all, I want to congratulate you for that One Africa, because I see you are on board, and all the great speakers that we've hosted here are on board, and they're calling on the Pan-African Daily to be present so we can see each other, we can feel each other, we can listen to each other, and I can bring the message from the continent, and you also give the message. So that that melting point is very important, and I'm really want you again to talk about the essence and the importance of this event, which is scheduled to take place on the 30th of April to the 1st of May. And when I saw the billboard, and the senior executive women on the Galaxy of 1212 from the Pan-African Daily rallied also behind Pan-African women that are here and say, Dr. Susan, we want you to go. We want you to be there. We also want you to be in Panama on the invitation of our sisters in the Caribbean, or the people of Caribbean that are saying, come, just come and also listen. Come and also see the place where we landed. Now we're only hearing about the door of no return on the continent. But did you know when they took us, where did they land? Where did they even settle? So there's a door of entry also. And this door of entry is something that, we want you to be a part. And the women also said, Susan, you have to be, Pan-African Daily have to be in Panama, has to be also in America, and during that period and across the world, why not? So like you said, it's a very important thing to listen to the elders or to hear from one another. And up to now, we had never had that rendezvous where we sit and even just listen. I'm also bringing you my own part of the story from Africa when they
Mm.
took you out there. What happened to us? What happened to us? I think our children in the communities, in the schools, there, in every, they never knew also what happened. Because one of the things that we face the challenge here and that the women came up with is like, we are always blaming the continent. Like, you abandon us. But do we also know that the continent has its own a part of the story? So this world tour, or this Ubuntu 1212 tour of Pan-African Daily 2022, is just bringing and coming for us to just sit and look at ourselves. It's not about what happened to me, what happened to you, how can we merge to go before. So I want to get your impressions about it. Why did you think that it was necessary that you invite the Pan-African Daily to the One Africa mega conference in Detroit?
I think it's about Pan-Africanism. It's about, and let's, because we use that word and people sometimes don't realize what we're saying when we say Pan-Africanism. We're simply saying the unification of African peoples, okay? Pan-Africanism means to unite all things African for the sake of Africa and Africans. And so one of the big part, when you ever hear me speak, I always say, we must learn our history in order to get rid of the mystery and the myth that our enemy has imposed on our minds. And so you're coming to America and to the Caribbean to be a part of, in Detroit, it'll be the One Africa Power and Unity Conference. And in the Caribbean, it will be in Panama. It will be a conference of the royalty, the kings and the queens of Africa and in the diaspora, so that we can know each other and understand each other's side of the story, just as you said, and see how we can work best together to solve this problem of unity. We've had such difficulty uniting. And the difficulty has come because we didn't know each other. Mm-hmm. Those who are fighting in Africa are fighting in Africa. Those who are fighting in the Caribbean are fighting in the Caribbean. Those who are fighting in America and Canada, we're fighting there. But if we come together and realize it's one fight, we must fight. And that is for Pan-Africanism. And that one fight can be victorious when we know one another well. And when we know one another well, we will be able to plan well for Africa and African people. Wherever we are in the world, that should be Africa for us. You see? Mm-hmm. Wherever I am, I build the African village.
Absolutely.
I build the African kingdom. And it has to be connected to the mother, economically, politically, and culturally. Mm-hmm. And I think that's at the foundation of bringing us together, of having you come and to have the Pan-African Daily TV broadcast across the world from North America, broadcast to the world from Panama, and have as your guest the Panamanian woman, the Trinidadian woman, the Jamaican woman, the African-American woman and men, talking about the same issue of Pan-Africanism and the respect for African culture and the respect for African indigenous leadership structures, which is still in place in Africa. And you'll be surprised how much of it is still in place in the Western Hemisphere. And coming together will allow us to see that. Just like you said, there was a door of no return, but there was a door of arrival. Mm-hmm. Let's find those doors of arrival and get to know those who have arrived there. And they get to know those they left back home. Hang on. So,
I share.
There it is.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's a very I don't know. It's just the time to do it, and someone has to do it, and some people have to do it, and some generation has to do it.
Yes,
It's not just like, you just jump. We go and visit. We've been out there a lot, but we've just been talking about some other thing, and we have not been drinking our water and minding our African business. So this
absolutely.
time
Drinking
we
water, minding
yes,
my African business.
yes. So we're going to be drinking our water and minding our African business as this event. And to all of you that are watching me, the team and the executive team of the Pan African Daily would be live. I don't know this weekend whether we're prepared or on Sunday to talk about the structure. I already see a lot of people that posted here and like, yeah, won't the Pan African Daily TV also present itself at the Africa Union? Yes, of course. These are all the agendas that we are walking through when we talk about this tour, when we talk about going from place to place, is to educate and inform and communicate. As you
Yeah,
know,
so we
that
can,
is our mission. Yes.
so you can have the credentialization that you need. So your reporters can be at the United Nations reporting back to you. So your reporters can be in Geneva at the World Court reporting back to you. So your reporters can be in Washington, D.C., and London, and Antwerp, and Belgium, reporting back to One African Daily TV. These are the things around the world that are affecting African people. Tell the people the story so that they will know what path to take. And so we'll
Oh,
move around. I know you're comfortable there in Germany, but we're going to take you out of your comfort zone
oh.
and move you around the world a little bit.
Of course, I think like you are saying, the credibility, and also particularly to offer this really African solutions. Now we
Mm.
are really are seeing that the need for African to be at the table, to contribute and to offer the solutions in a legitimate way, that because we see how the world is suffering. Professor James, you've been saying it. It is not a joke. And probably some of the things that we should, or we have learned from you, our elders, and that you are pushing us, like, say, get out of your comfort zone, go there. We have to be, we talked about negotiation, how do we negotiate and stuff like that. So yes, we want to provide this African perspective solutions that work for us. For anybody that says, no, I wasn't, because I didn't get the fact, I had to send my own to get that. No, now we are here. The scholars are here, the experts are here, the voices are here, the young people are so much like ready to provide solutions that work for us in our communities. We're so
Yeah.
much ready to come in your institutions to tell you how to deal with us if you didn't know. We're so much ready to consult you how to deal with Africans in your community. Exactly. That's the responsibility of going around and moving and being these ambassadors and putting exactly what we want to contribute for a peaceful world of humanity as a whole. So
Mm.
that's the biggest journey that we're taking. But before we go on the global, we have to first of all, sit down ourselves, listen to you, get the history. You feel me, I feel you. Because I look at you, I'm jealous. Me from the continent, I'm representing the voice. We imitate you. We look at you, you're just like, we want to dress like you. We sing like you. We imitate the stars that you all labor to produce out there. So there is nothing like we left to you. There is nothing like we were envy. Who are these people that are doing these things? Our footballers, our stars, our musicians, the Beyoncés, the top of the ice cream. Who are these inventors? And on the continent, we watch you. We envy you. We rap. We want to rap. We want to wear baggies. All those things. And so I just want to be. I'm just grateful that to share this experience with the young people in the universities, on the campus, in the community. How it was, the pain that we went through, missing you, but how we really just were emulating and engaging with you. So we never left you. Is that fair
Listen,
enough?
that's more than fair. And the young people here have to see you. They have to hear the voice of the mothers of Africa and see that you're not an oddity or an anomaly, that you're a real African woman. The only thing different between you and them is you have a different accent and they have a different accent. But in their mind, their aspirations are the same. They have to see your spirit, your dreams, your understanding of the world. And then they realize you're not as far apart as you think. Then the distance shrink. And I can reach out and I can touch you. I can touch Africa and realize that she was never that far away from me to start with. I just didn't know where to look. You know? So we're ready. You know I may have to leave you a little early because I have a 5 o'clock radio show.
No, we are also leaving because, I mean, we were just here to remind ourselves what this day is, 17th of March. What does it mean to us? And also to start the communication.
Let's say it out loud. John, President John Joseph Magufuli's day. This is his day. We declare it to be so, and so it is. And next year, the same time, we will be back again to carry our declaration of Magufuli's day out.
Bayete, Professor King James Small. Thank you so very much. I will be taking up some questions or some calls. I mean, when you leave us, just people who are sharing the feeling of this day, they can call. Our lines are open. But Professor James, like you said, we'll be having you again, you know, anytime next week.
I can still spend a few minutes if you want me to help you with the calls. I can do that for about 15
minutes. Oh, fine. Yes. So we are taking the calls on WhatsApp +49 1578 211-2379. I know it's always been like Pan-African Daily is just not, you know, as if we don't take calls. No, we are open today. Particularly share your impression with us, where you're watching and what does this day actually mean to you? What is it that we can work on, you know, to make these days our heroes' days each time they depart? Like we learned today about the Jewish community. What seasons, what vacations, what names should we be calling at particular days, you know, to bring our contribution and our respect to our leaders? So call +49 1578 211 237 on WhatsApp. We did be ready to share and to hear your voice and to celebrate this ancestor with you today. But like we're waiting on the calls, if anyone is hot enough to say we're calling, I already get a caller coming in. It's been a while, I know, and I truly want to apologize, and not just only apologize. The reason why we actually had suspended the calls was like we were getting so distracted and we wanted to get down to study, and now we have studied and now we're opening up the voices again, particularly on days like this. So welcome, brother. Thank you for calling. Good evening.
Good evening, Sister Tata. It's Paul Brown.
Thank you, my brother.
I want to say to our listener that Sister Tata must go to Panama. You guys got to support it. Brother Small, thanks for the message you send us every day. And may God bless you. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you so much. Sister Susan must go to Panama.
Before you go real quick, I'd like to ask Brother Small this real quick.
Go ahead.
Brother Small, the question is, I've seen the Tanzania president, our prime minister, she has the former British prime minister for her advisor. Is something wrong with the diaspora here, where she couldn't find people here to advise her? This country, America, all the cities and towns are run by black mayors and black governor build this country. Why can't African leaders seek advice from some of these guys?
Well, that's the reason why we must come together more often. We must come together more often so we can realize what resources we have in our hands. And it takes time, but that's where the coming together, having conferences. We need to, say, next year, hold a conference in Tanzania to talk about Pan-Africanism and unity, and invite people from the Caribbean, from the Europe, the African European, from North America to come to the continent, and let's see the resources that we possess. Because there's a Black council of mayors that goes to Africa all the time, hundreds of them, and they hold their conferences there. I was at a couple of their conferences on the continent. But we have to learn to come closer together and begin to understand the intent of one another, because there's still a great distance based on our not understanding the history and the function and the process, because we're talking about economics, we're talking about politics, we're talking about culture, we're talking about political structures, we're talking about cultural structures, and the coming together will let us begin to learn more about these things so that we can see how we fit and how we can bring the skills we have to assist one another, especially at the table of governance around the African world.
Yeah. Another thing, just to add on that, or maybe Prof, you can also expand on that a little bit before you go. I know the time is running out, but we would have to address some of these things, like, the thing that we should, and I think this is the beginning where you say unity is very essential to us, for us to collaborate and work together based on trust and knowledge of ourselves, of knowing each other. Now, but the one thing that we should also understand, Prof, you've been saying it a couple of times, if we put our money together, so we can also, this Tony Blair or whatever, these ministers or these people that are going, they're going to look for business. They go to look for business. It's not that the Tanzanian government say you come and no, they look for it. So we have to have that knowledge of going to look also for that business, put our money together, like we say, and negotiate. Am I correct?
Oh, absolutely. Well, is someone having Tony Blair as an advisor?
I think that's what he was saying.
Yeah, Tony Blair's a criminal. That's it, because we don't understand history. Tony Blair's a criminal. He should be charged with war crimes against Africa, against what he did in Zimbabwe, the betrayal of the agreement that Margaret Thatcher had put together with Mugabe, and how him and Bush denied it, and that caused the land crisis. Mugabe didn't cause the land crisis. Tony Blair and George Bush caused the land crisis by refusing to honor the agreement that Margaret Thatcher and I think what's the man, Ronald Reagan, made to save the white settlers from the revolutionaries' guns in Zimbabwe. And so a man like Tony Blair, who have committed so much crimes against Africa and responsible for the death of African leaders, should not even be allowed to fly over the African continent, let alone be there advising someone. But they have to work that out in Tanzania. We can make our criticism. I certainly will not bite my tongue. I know what an MI6, MI5 intelligence officer look like, even when they make him prime minister. Okay. And so Magufuli taught the British that they were thieves and made them pay the excess money back to Tanzania that they'd stolen in the processing over their gold over years. So that's why we must study history. And that's why we must study our ancestors to see what lessons have they left for us. But politics is complex, and we don't know the detail of the politics in Tanzania. We don't know whether Magufuli was murdered by the West. That is as likely as anything else. We don't know what threats they put on the present government and their lives, because we know what their capabilities are. We've seen our historical relationship to Europe and America over hundreds of years. Either we learn from the past or we're doomed to repeat it. That's my stake on that. I got nothing else to say about that. I hope that was enough.
Okay. All right. So I think your question was answered, Brother Paul. But in any case, like we say, we put our acts together. We focus on ourselves and know what actually we want, and then go for the bid and the offer. So, but it all starts by us knowing ourselves, uniting, and just even feeling each other, like you said. We want to
Mm-hmm.
see Africa today, and I said it yesterday. We have the winds in Germany called Sahara. Professor James, this is the second time. The first
Mm-hmm.
time they came in 2014, it was not really like the one this week. It started a couple of days, and all the cars, particularly in the southern region, are red. You know, the dust. And
Mm-hmm.
so for the Germans, it's like, it's like something that is never happening. But a lot of them are saying something is really going on. Is somebody up there wheeling, like controlling the steering, as if very soon we're going to be having too much sun here. And maybe sometimes in Africa, we're going to start having snow. Like, the environment, the changes, the weather, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But you could see that. I mean, we walked on the street today, or we drove around, and you see our red dust on this sticky ones on this car. So
We call
for
it
me,
the Kamatan in Africa. It's Kamatan because they take the dust all the way to the Caribbean, even to North America, in Florida, North Carolina. We see the dust more now than ever before, as far away as Mississippi, Louisiana.
yes. I mean, for me, it's something actually. There's something like Sahara, and I like the way they call it Sahara.
Mm-hmm.
That does. Then I begin to provoke, like I share and say, yes, it's me. That's me. You're seeing everywhere now. So no matter how you clean your cars, how many times you do it,
The
it's there.
Sahara comes, yes.
Yeah.
But
So yeah. Go ahead.
nature speaks for herself.
Thank you.
So when you push too hard, she pushes back, you know. And when she pushes, you can do nothing about it.
Correct. Absolute. Thank you anyway. Thank you so much, Prof. I know
All
you
right.
have to
Yes, my
go. We
sister.
also
So
have to
I
go.
know I'm going to have to leave you,
Yes.
but it was an honor. Magufuli Day, we celebrate you. Our brother, we call your name. Every time we call your name, you live. And so we should call your name 365 days a year and then celebrate it on this day every year as your day. So
Ashe.
peace and blessings, Sister Susan. Peace and blessings to the Pan-African Daily TV audience. I will see you soon.
Yes, apart this one you just came because of the memorial, but remember we have an appointment for next week. You coming on the
Yes.
show on another topic, isn't it?
Yes.
I'll reach back
Yes.
out to you. Thank
Bye-bye
you
now.
very much, Prof.
You're
Bye.
welcome.
Good night.
Good night.
Greetings. Bye. So yes, dear family, how are you doing? How are all of us doing? How are we celebrating out there this wonderful memorial on the 17th of March 2021? It came like the Sahara is here now. And this very period again, we see Sahara turning around, reminding the world that we are not gone, we're still here, and we're even coming now to you. So for me, I think the significance of the Sahara that is going around Europe is not just a dust that is just coming. It's a message. It's also a sign of a global world that we all are together and we would somehow know each other. So probably in some areas, also even in Cameroon last year, we saw snow for the first ever time, and the rotation, the significance, the weathers, the signs are there. And so if nature is uniting, going global, what about us as people, as Africans that have been disconnected? If the world could really be separated between the day, the night, and the weathers, we have the tropical climate on our continent. It's either rainy seasons or dry seasons. And I mean, in some part of South Africa, they start having their snow. But then in the diaspora or in the West, they have the 4 seasons that we all know. And each season is just, so but now we see a kind of a melange, a kind of a mix. For me, significantly or spiritually, if weathers can actually rotate and move, what about us? So we are not stagnant. We are not placed only in the Caribbean. We're not placed only in America. We're not placed in every other part of the world or on the continent itself. We are mobile, and so we can connect, we can network. I'm calling on all of you to support, join our women's team, our senior executive teams, the core team of the Pan-African Daily that is putting out this tour for the Pan-African Daily to go and spread out this message of one Africa for Africans worldwide, to meet our brothers and sisters where we've been, sit on the table, like instead of us going to the Berlins to sit and talk about that would come in the agenda later. But the first thing is how we connect ourselves, how the children see us and hear our broken accent, and how we also struggle to tell them, hey, slow down. We can hear that. Okay. So all this melange is just like the weather, like I said, the Sahara is coming. So also we are coming to ourselves. Okay. So I want to thank you so very much. We are going to see ourselves again. Tomorrow, actually, the weekend was planned differently because we had to meet in Berlin to set up our head office there. But for some reasons, and because the lockdown in Germany has been extended, Normally, we had the information that on the 15th of March or 20th of March, we're gonna get some, relaxation. But because of the past holidays or the 2 weeks holiday vacation that people were on vacation, and they had this celebration of their fashion or their cultural celebration here, a lot of people mingle. And so the statistics that the increase in the COVID Omicron, the COVID variant is, causing that law to maintain the status quo of the lockdown up till probably the 1st of April. So tomorrow, definitely we'll be having a guest, the Queen Mother of Panama, who has to come again and expatiate. She wanted to talk about the people in, I think, in a certain, I don't know, I don't want to say something that is not right. So I would confirm with her and we'll put out that program. I want to also thank all of you that joined the program yesterday, even though we were not really that many, but we shared incredible stories with the Queen, Queen Francesca Abe, her experience on the continent as a diaspora, and the message that she was sending out to a diaspora out here. So this medium of unity and connection is not just only physical, but it's really the transportation of information that we're putting out together. If you miss that conversation, please, I would advise you to go on our YouTube channel again, watch it over and over again. Now, there's another very, very quick announcement that we shared this evening. We don't have accessibility to Facebook, to our Facebook to go live on it for 30 days. Like, they always been restriction, or, like King Maponga always say, I'm in the Facebook jail. So for whatever reasons, or whatever things they say we violated, as usual, or as often, or we might have made something or said a statement when Rutendo was here and stuff like that. And so we restricted to go on that live for 30 days. So we are calling every of our followers and our viewers following the Pan-African Daily TV on Facebook page to kindly subscribe and click your notification on our YouTube TV channel, which we broadcasting every evening from, for information up till the time where I think that restriction would be uplifted, 30 days, and we could be appearing live. But the Facebook page is sharing stories and interactions as usual. But the only one thing also that we keep advising us to actually be more present on the YouTube channel, because this is actually the melting pot where connecting us and the diaspora. And we can see the diaspora is really following mostly on the YouTube than on the Facebook. And on the Facebook, we have the continentals. So we're still divided in our social space. We're actually divided in our social space because it's impossible also that on our Facebook page, we have more than 500,000 followers, close to 1 million followers, but then the reactions on there are limited. And so we begin to understand the purpose of these algorithms, trying to still navigate us wherever we are on those spaces. So the action we're taking for these 30 days or this couple of days is, please, all our Facebook followers that want to get updates and live conversations should subscribe to the YouTube channel, click the notification button to get access to information or watch us when we are live. So we're not going to be spending a lot always, copying the link, sharing it out there for you, and then getting all this restriction. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of investment just to get across to you, when the only thing that we need is for you to just click the subscribe button, which is red, and you click the notification. It doesn't take us 1 minute to do that. So we're looking forward to many, many interactions to getting you connected so we can begin that journey of information and educating and teaching ourselves, and of course, uniting as we are doing. So another information or news that we have here is actually the kickoff of our young executive team of the Pan-African Daily TV Academy that is coming up. And I think the team out there and the leadership has been doing a very incredible job. All of them are youths. Nobody is mingling into them. Nobody mingles into them. Us on the senior executive team is just, giving them the directives or, like things that they should pay attention to. But they have built themselves. They've divided themselves. They've filled all the documentation process, like, Patrina, who is leading and coordinating with Marshall Lawrence, our brother there in the Caribbean, trying to put these structures together. So this week, they were now going through the formality of signing documentation. So like the code of conduct, and understanding the message that we want to put out there. So in the coming weeks, we're going to have a general day, what we call information day, where we will be addressing them on their conducts and how they have to behave before we send them down to the fields to start doing their work. Now, we also on the Pan-African Daily would be happy to introduce all of them to you physically here, so we begin to know who are the young people that are for the Africa that they want to see. What is their engagement? You already saw a couple of tests that we did here, how they could spontaneously, in case of anything, come live. So that exercise that we did last week was just to awaken them and push them, like we say, into the waters. So we pushed them a couple of times and they came. So most of them actually were like surprised, like, when Petrina would say, you're live today and at this time at 6 o'clock, and like, oh, what am I going to be talking about? And I said, no, this is the Africa we want. We should be ready. Anytime something is happening somewhere, you just jump on board. Remember, we're going to be broadcasting, and we first of all have to know how to present, how to speak with some courage, how to, coordinate our stuff without necessarily have to cram things like the mainstream media or write some stuff. So that exercise actually gave them, the ability. They're more empowered, they're more engaged, they're more looking forward, they're more picking after the hero of today, Excellency Magufuli, who just did it, who never thought for long, who never had the fear, oh, can I do it? Can I not do it? Remember, we're doing it the African way. And the African way is just jump and do it. Anything about professionality or whatever they want to say in professionalism, we can also deliver. But the action time is now, and our young people, we're motivating them and getting them engaged on the platform. So really an applause to them out there that are watching us in their groups, and they watch us every day to see how we present, how the people that are commenting in the charts, what is it that they comment about, what is it that they want to see. So exactly, that's the point that we said, like Professor James, engaging our young people to be that. And why we watch and only guard them and not impose on them and not dictate on them and not sit on structures that we don't want them to ever be a part, and not give up leadership Leadership is just watching people lead. And so we are just on the Pan African Daily teaching them to become messengers and servants of their people. So the broadcasting or the presentation, just like I do, is not going to be about the me, myself, and I. How I look, how I speak, how comfortable or how I must be, makeup or tips like that. But it's about the you, the message out there to the people. How do you feel it? How do you interpret it? How does it impact and change you in that same position? If any message that we're bringing on the Pan African Daily doesn't yield any fruit, doesn't create an impact, doesn't shake you up, then we are just like the mainstream selling stories to make money. That's not the Africa we want. That's not the Africa we want to build. And that's not the Africa our young people want to build. So I want to thank you and asking you to join us tomorrow with the Queen of Panama. Definitely a lot to share about the upcoming conference. Definitely a lot also to share about some upcoming updates on information. She's been around also holding some conference and talks somewhere else around the diaspora, so she's going to share that experience with us, and I look forward to have you tomorrow. And please, tomorrow is a special day for our boy Iya Babotumi Tata. Ia is clocking 18, and you know what 18 means for children that are here. Like it's a stage of being able to sign your own signature and take some responsibilities. Like it is what we call in their own state the right of passation. So you beginning to take those responsibilities. So us on the Pan African Daily TV, because Ia is also a team member, he's a team in the team tech assisting his brother to me to help us go live each time. And they've been doing an incredible job ever since we started the Pan African Daily for 2 years. They're the ones that put us live, the two boys. And I really am so proud of them. So I would like you to join us tomorrow to celebrate A18 of Iyababo Tata. And to actually put him a red cap and a red feather to take him up to another level, as he also they're engaging into the volunteering team to learn all the techniques and other measures, how we really can bring our Pan-African Daily TV in a tech high form, according to the structures and the opportunities that we have. So I want to thank all of you. I'll be looking forward to your engagement tomorrow, all of you signing in. And please, one thing that we still asking you to do is to share and share and share. I know a lot of people are saying our videos are too long, and so we are not on TikTok. People ask me, oh, Dr. Susan, these conversations, why can't you just put a 1 minute to chop it off and send the message? This is one thing I want us to understand. We are not an entertaining media. We don't just want to create stories and get followers. No, you know that from the beginning. It's not about entertainment. It's not about following. It's not about just coming. This is a serious structure. It is a media for the continent, a legacy for the youths and Africans worldwide. Nobody owns this media. It is the media called Pan-African Daily TV for Africans worldwide. So it's not a joke. We are not here to just chop some 1 seconds and drop them on Reel or on YouTube or or on TikTok and just do some things and just get you follow and become influencers or celebrity public figures. No, it is about our work, and it's a serious work. How we present our do you see our professors and our people like just cut them 1 minute, throw it there, and they just say some statement as if there's some junks? No, there are platforms and there are platforms, and how these platforms operate and for whatever purpose they operate, we have to understand it. Not every tool and weapon is useful for us. But of course, we'll be putting out 10 minutes or 10, reproduce the conversations that we'll be doing, but in a noble and a responsible format for you to not just to warm you up and charge you up with some kind of blah, 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 and then we just disappear at 2 seconds. No, we're going to do good work according to how our ancestors and our elders have taught us to do. But remember that we need your subscription. Remember that we have to get to the 1 million subscribers to be able to impact the change that we're talking about. So when we have a program like the Celebration Day, the 12/12 Alarm, the Magufuli Day, imagine you were reaching out to 1 million. That's the purpose of the 1 million. And also our tour with the Pan-African Daily is also coming up to raise the $1 million funding for the academy to train at least 1,000 of our correspondents worldwide. Okay, so we are looking forward wherever our tours would be. Watch out for the program, watch out for our flyers. We're going to share this communication with you wherever we'll be. Print these flyers, put it in your neighborhood, print them, craft the message in your own format that you want to put it. Put it in any stores around your community, in the schools, in the colleges, in the village, in your institutions, in the shops, wherever it is. You must have contributed a lot. Just, our logo, you can download it. It's on our website. It's also available on our pages each time we post our press release to them. Take these messages and run with it. And just click subscribe on it, Pan-African Daily. Watch at this time and this time. So we're coming out with all these projects and all this communication material where you can print anywhere. We're also coming out to release our logos to you where you can take it and print your own t-shirts and your caps. And that's the Africa we want to build. Don't expect us to go, invest some money where we should be putting in our young people and structures on the continent to feed our people and to help them to go and buy some merchandise from China or whatever and put some logos and begin to sell to you. No, we are releasing that for you to take it. You can brand your t-shirt with it, but that's the message that we want. And so you can get the flyers, you can download it, you can put it in any format you want to place it everywhere that you want to. That is communication, that is education, that is information. So, but like I said, the team will be coming up and each person presenting their faces to you, who is doing what, who is in charge of the tour, who is in charge of the fundraising, who is in charge of, and all the coordinates. You'll see mothers of the nation and the kings and the queens that are ready to push this agenda and this message to another level. So thank you so very much. We would be in touch tomorrow, same time. Remember to click your notifications because I already hear your times are changing out there. I don't know what it is. Click your notification when we come live. Just join us. Good night. Tuko pamoja, madase miaka beriwo. Good night. You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want. Unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.